Hey, what's up, guys? So I've had a request to do a tutorial on busing, sends and returns and whatnot, whatever you want to call them. So I'm gonna do a quick little tutorial here to explain how to use buses, why you use buses, what you can do with them, like with compression, effects, and whatnot. The main reason you want to use a bus is to save CPU. You can set up a reverb bus so that you don't have to put individual reverb on every instrument. You can set up kind of like what I did here with this whole group of instruments right here that are all in this blue color. I sent all these outputs to one bus, so I bused them all together to this. And then I can control this entire group as a whole, because all these layers here make up one sound pretty much. And then I'm treating that one sound through this bus kind of as a whole. So let me explain that. So for instance, this right here, let me solo it so you can hear. First, let me play this section so you can hear what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can hear all these here in the blue. Okay, these are all making up this sound. So let me show you. If I solo this, oops. Okay, so that's each one of these. This is bus 10 right here. Each one of these is outputted here to bus 10. Okay, and so now I'm controlling all these sounds here. So I can EQ them all together. I can compress them all together. I've done a little bit of reverb and delay, all that stuff, all on that one bus. So let's see what I have going on here. So I've got bus 6 right here. So I've got this triplet delay on this bus. I've got this being sent, okay, to my triplet delay. Bus 3 is my reverb, okay, and I've got a couple different reverbs. I've got a main reverb. I have a really small, like room type reverb. I have another one that is like a sidechain reverb. So I set up some different reverbs, depending on what certain sounds need. I've got a quarter note delay, triplet delay. This one is another triplet delay, but let me see what I did, what the difference was here. Oh, okay. So this triplet delay here just had a slower release time on the actual delay. The feedback here is just slower. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how you're going to use buses. You're going to set these up so that you can send signal to these without having to put an individual, like a triplet delay on each instrument. Instead of doing that, I can just send some signal over to that, and then you get that delay. So let me go in and kind of show you what I've done on this like main lead synth group here. I have EQ'd it a little bit, and I'll show you what it sounds like without all this stuff. Okay, so all these are doing, so all I did here on this main synth bus is I just EQ'd it a little bit, cut out some of those muddy mids, boosted the highs a little bit to give it some that air. Compressed it a little bit, just to kind of handle some of those peaks. I just did a really fast attack, pretty fast release as well, because all I want it to do is just help compress some of those peaks to get some of those peaks under control. And then I limited it at the end to just control the volume on this channel, so that you can see here it's not peaking above negative 11 dB. Now if I bypass this, okay, so see it peaks now at 8. So this just helps control some of those peaks as well, that are getting through the compressor. This is helping some of those stay under control so that it's not peaking too hot. So that's one way you can use a bus. You just send a bunch of layers. So let me show you what each one of these layers sounds like by itself. So here's this one. Okay, this one. Those together. Okay. Now all these together is this. Okay, so that's pretty much just one way to use a bus. You can send a bunch of layers all to one bus, and then you can control that entire group as a whole. So that's one way. Then, for instance, setting up like a reverb bus. So let me show you on the snare here. I've got my snare being sent to a parallel compression bus. In Logic, the way that I do it is you set up a bus, you set up a compressor, really slow attack, really fast release. You're gonna squash the crap out of the signal. And then what I do is I send this pre-fader, which means that it's going to send signal before it hits this volume fader here. I send it to this bus, and then what I'll do is I'll slowly bring up this volume until it sounds the way that I want it to sound. Now you can send your snare, you can send a kick to it. All the parallel compression bus is going to do is give you a little bit more of like an attack. Let's see what else I sent this to. Bus 2. Oh, bus 2 is just, it's a bus that I set up for my snare to sidechain anything to the snare. That's really all that is. It's muted. There's no output. And then bus 7 is this small reverb that I have set up, and you can hear what that's doing. Without. Okay, let me see. Oh, I have my kick being sent to that as well. You can hear what that's doing to the kick. Oh, wrong thing. Okay, so that's another way to set up and use a bus is like with reverb. So you just send some of the signal to that reverb bus. And then I just slowly turn up the volume, the amount of signal pretty much. I'm turning up the amount of signal that I'm being sent over to this reverb bus here. Sorry, this one. And it's just this is just a smaller tailed reverb. And then all I've done is I've taken out some of the lows on it. Let's see. Let me see if I can show you an example of like delay. So we've got this. So this splash symbol is being sent to a delay. And you can hear what that does. Okay, so you can hear that delay. And I'll bypass that. Okay, so I've set up this bus 5. I think that's what, yeah, bus 5. Okay, and I just put this triplet delay on there. Set the feedback to whatever you want it to be. Whenever you're using buses like this, you always want to make sure that the dry wet knob is all the way to 100. Like turn it to all the way wet. That means that this bus has that full amount of that effect. And then when you start sending some of the signal from, say, this splash, okay? So I've got -10 dB worth of signal being sent over there, okay? So you start at nothing, and you slowly turn it up until you get the amount of signal sent to that bus that sounds good. Trying to think of any other way to use a bus. That's pretty much all I can think of. So you pretty much like how you use buses and why you use buses is to number one, save CPU on effects like delay and reverb, so you don't have to put them individually on each channel or each track. And another way is to send a bunch of like your main layers, your synths, all your synth sounds, send them all to a bus, and then you can compress, you can limit, you can EQ everything as a whole. Another way, which I said, was like this parallel compression bus. You can do that. Yeah, that's really all I can think of as far as busing goes. If you need some more clarification, some more explanation, just hit me up in the comments, and I'm more than happy to try and explain things a little bit better. Yeah, that's it. All right, I'll see you guys later.